Allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you everyone for coming. Just as a little bit of a disclaimer, I had some dental work done today and I can't feel my mouth yet, so if I drool or spit, it is not intentional. So I apologize for that. I've never had it last this long. But, the first item that
on the dentist.
Right, the dentist.
May I say something, please, before you start?
Yes.
Let's have a minute of silence for one of the members of the town that died over the weekend. Oh, great man. Davis. Davis.
John Davis.
John Davis.
Sure. So we'll have a moment of silence in memory of John Davis.
What all the town and stuff he did.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Casper, for bringing that to our attention. The first item that we have on the agenda is the town administrator report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I passed out a written report. I don't think we've announced here before that our revenue anticipation note was in fact rolled over on the 15th, and Century Bank was agreeable to purchasing our note. Of course, under Department of Revenue regulations, that note must be paid off by the end of the fiscal year. I'm sure many people here are familiar with the town's issue with cash flow. This is part of it. We're pleased that we were able to roll over the note. Tax bills went out on Friday. As of mid-afternoon, we had $25,000 in the door today. And so we are hoping that combination of rolling over this revenue anticipation note plus incoming taxes will take care of the cash flow problem. I think it will. So, also, you're opening bids tonight for 252 Baldwinville Road. There are two bids. I want to commend Holly especially for the good work that she's done on this for the last couple of months. Also, we're having a sale of foreclosed properties on Thursday the 29th. These are town-owned properties that were foreclosed in the past, and they'll be auctioned on Thursday. And thirdly, a third part of the strategy to rebuild free cash for next year, Talaj is coming to Town Hall to talk about purchasing some of our tax liens within the next few days. I had a visit today from the agent for the owner of this building, and because of the cash flow squeeze, we had not paid the rent for the last couple of months, so I've asked our town accountant to make sure that gets done, and the treasurer. So I reassured him, but he was a little concerned because, you know, it's coming to the end of the year, and I think you have to be concerned that maybe, given our situation, that we wouldn't be able to pay. But I assured him of that, and so I think we'll be okay there. Also, I sent a notice to the mayor of Gardner that the town will not be continuing with the animal control arrangement in the coming fiscal year, and that we would like to have the van returned. Also talked to the town accountant about paying the bill over in Templeton, or over in Gardner for that collaboration that we had. I paid a visit to the light department today to discuss some of the issues that have been discussed here over the last couple of months, and I listed here some of the items that we talked about. The commissioners are meeting on June 10th, and I was invited to come to that meeting. Any others who would like to come, I think we're going to put all of our issues and concerns on the table, and they're going to do the same, and see if we can reach an arrangement there with them. Mentioned I had a visit from the chair of the advisory board to talk about the new advisory board and what they anticipate for the coming year. And lastly, I think this is a serious issue that we haven't brought up yet. Cabot Risk Strategies has sent an email to me, obviously looking for us to renew our insurance for police and fire coverage. And they said the so-called loss ratio was 116%. I think that's something that needs some attention and some work into the next year, because what that means is, board is familiar with how the loss ratio works. They like the loss ratio to be somewhere in the 70 to 80th percentile, meaning of the premium that you pay in, they pay back something in that range so that they can make a profit and also pay their administrative costs. When the loss ratio is 116%, it means that what was paid out in claims is 116% of what we paid in premiums. That points clearly to increasing premiums. They're in the business to make money, and they're not going to lose money, they're going to raise premiums. So I think we need to look into that a little further and see what we can do to bring that claims rate down. That is what I have. Okay.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Moulton? Okay.
There's
If not-
also
oh,
a
sorry.
report, there's a report from Matt. Did they not have copies? Did he give you copies?
No.
I'll get copies of this,
Okay.
which you can take with you.
Thank you very much. The next item that we have on the agenda is to approve the holiday schedule, which we all had in our packets for the upcoming year. So if anyone would like to make a motion to approve the holiday schedule as presented in our packets, I will accept that motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, we can vote. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. The next item that we have is action on common victular licenses. Do we have those? I have the 1 days.
I just have the original. And this is the new pizza, Chinese takeout that's trying to open.
Right.
And Phil had told us about that before he left, but he knew they were gonna be coming.
Okay.
So this is gonna have to be pending, that we can get all the inspections that he needs.
And which we'll be discussing later on in today's meeting to see kind of what efforts we can take to get these businesses up and going without a functioning fully functioning health agent for the Board of Health. But so the license is to certify that Keith Lin, doing business as Great Wall Chinese Takeout, 5 Central Street, Baldwinville, Mass. 01436, is hereby granted a common victualer's license in said Templeton and that place only, and expires the 31st day of December 2014 unless sooner suspended or revoked for violation of the laws of the Commonwealth. Respecting the licensing of common victualers, this license is issued in conformity with the authority granted to the licensing authorities by General Laws Chapter 140 and amendments thereto. This is dated as of today's date. If there is a motion to approve this license for Keith Lin, doing business as Great Wall Chinese Takeout, I will accept the motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? If not, we can vote. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So I'll pass this down for signatures. Take care of. The next item that we have on the agenda is to discuss the bids received for East Templeton Elementary School roof project and heating system project, and update on East Templeton school town offices. I don't know if Holly or Bob wanted to present this information, or I can just read it off on my sheet. Is that the preferable? Okay. So the bids were opened on May 22nd of this year, obviously, at noon. The individuals present for the opening of the bids were Bob Markle, Town Administrator, and Holly Young, Senior Legal Administrative Assistant. We received 2 bids for the heating system. The first was, well, in no particular orders, Z-Boys Heating of East Templeton. It was a $58,000 installation plus $4,000 for the removal of the old system. There's a total of a $62,000 bid, and all the conditions that needed to be met were met with that bid. The second bid that we received for the plumbing is from Performance Plumbing and Heating in Medway, Massachusetts. The $62,000 installation plus $2,850 removal of the old system for a total of $64,850, and all of the conditions were met there. So obviously the lower bid of those two is Z-Boys Heating in East Templeton, Mass. For the bid opening for the East Templeton Elementary School, the roof bid also occurred May 22nd, 2014 at noon. Present for the bid opening was Bob Markle, Town Administrator, and Holly Young, Senior Legal Administrative Assistant. We received one bid. It was from Rockwell Roofing in Leominster, Mass. for $127,900, and all the conditions that needed to be met per the offer for bids were met. So those are the bids that we received. We'll discuss if I have a motion to accept the bids, the lowest bid for being for Z-Boys Heating of East Templeton for the heating system, and the lowest bid for the roof being Rockwell Roofing in Leominster, Mass.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? If not,
It is?
okay. If not, then we can vote. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes as well. The next item that was on our list was to open the bids for 252 Baldwin Road, but that is slated to be at 7. So if we can we'll skip over that for now, as well as the town administrator second interviews, because I don't want to start those quite yet because of the time that we anticipated those to begin.
About the permitting stuff?
Yeah, sure. What we can do, I have here, Chief Whitaker is here and on the agenda to discuss the liquor license guidelines and appointment, if you want to take care of that now. Thank you for coming.
Okay, due to the change in our shift schedule, and patrol officers going off duty at 2 o'clock in the morning, and our bar is closing at 2 o'clock in the morning, it poses a little bit of a problem for us. So what I have done is I've sent a copy of a letter to all the serving licenses, and I've invited them to this meeting, telling, in the letter, it gives my intention of changing their closing time from 2 AM to 1 AM. By closing up 1 AM, that gives them about 20 minutes or so to empty out their establishments. Generally speaking, if we're gonna have trouble when a bar closes, it's at bar closing time. And a good example of that was this weekend, we had quite a melee in Ballinville, where we had to call in mutual aid. And
Oh, wow.
there was closing time battle, shall we say. So,
I was not present for that.
yeah. So what I would like to do is, all our liquor licenses have a 2 o'clock closing. I'd like to revoke that closing, or suspend it, I guess would be the best word, till 1 PM until further notice, or until we establish a 24-hour police service again. And if the board will vote that, I'll type a letter and make sure it's hand-delivered to the establishment. I would suggest maybe just give them a 1-week notice in case they've got an event planned or something like that, but not much more than that.
Right.
The sooner we do it, the better. The summer hours are coming on, and that's the busier time for the bars. I have received, my letters went out last week, and I haven't received a single phone call from any of the establishments. So,
Okay.
we have done this in the past. We had this problem at one other time, and we did the same thing without too much implications. So I would suggest that we do that.
Do we have, sorry, I was just gonna ask if we have any members, any holders of liquor licenses present? Okay, if not, sorry, go ahead. Mrs.
I was
Farrell.
gonna make a motion that we change the closing time from 2 AM to 1 AM for all liquor establishments within the town of Templeton, effective June 7th.
That's fine with me, just so I know the date.
Yeah.
And I think a formal letter probably should come from the select board, but I'll send out, what I'll do is I'll type a letter myself and let them know, and I'll have my officers hand deliver it to each establishment, so we know that they've been served in hand, and we'll log it, and please log it, we can just send a follow-up letter to the select board.
Kate?
I have 2 questions.
Yes, ma'am?
Chief, do you know if you have to present them with new licenses?
I don't think we'll need, well, I don't think you really need to present them with new licenses as long as we document the change.
Okay, do we
I
have
think
to-
when they renew, then we'll have to address that, certainly.
Okay, do we have to notify the ABCC?
No, it's a town regulated issue, but.
Are there any other?
June 7th, you said?
7th, yeah, it's a Saturday.
Just a suggestion, Chief,
Yes.
when you hand them the letter, get a receipt.
Well, we'll log it. What I'll do is the officers will sign off and we'll create a police log call for it, so we have documentation that we did do it. Okay?
And will we send a formal letter to them from the board also?
Right, I think we should.
Like Holly draft that? I was just
With the license
curious.
and authority, so you should.
Right.
She said, yeah, should I see her shake it? So, okay.
And I can provide you with a list of
Did you get a second?
which I already, you should have it.
Second,
So Diane seconded Julie's motion, Holly.
Okay.
sorry.
That's okay. No, good. You need a second.
Okay, and the second issue I have, Sergeant Paul Schwartz will be retiring effective June 1st after 34 years, I think 30 years with Templeton. And what I would like to do is appoint Derek Hall acting sergeant. And that appointment would run from June 1st to June 30th, then again, I think we would just extend it from July 1st to January 1st, 6 months.
Okay.
And go from there.
We'll handle the liquor license first.
Yeah,
Yep.
we should vote that
Yep.
first.
Any further discussion on the changing of the closing times for liquor establishments? Or if not, we can vote. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes as well. Okay. And do I have a motion regarding the acceptance of Sergeant Schwartz's retirement effective June 1st, and then Detective Derek Hall being appointed acting sergeant effective June 2nd,
14.
2014?
I don't think you have to take action on his retirement. He's pretty well gone.
The days, right.
I don't think it's gonna matter a lot to him,
Right,
whether you
right.
agree with him or not.
Right.
We'll be waiting for his acceptance letter.
Right. Would you like a vote from us just
I need a
affirming
vote
that
to
Derek
appoint
Hall?
Derek Hall to act.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we appoint Detective Derek Hall, acting sergeant, effective June 2nd, 2014.
Second.
Second. Is there any further discussion?
Ken? just-
Yes, sure.
For the new guy here, Chief, what is the role and function of the sergeant?
Sergeant, Sergeant Schwartz has been the night supervisor for a number of years. He supervises the night shift, so Derek Hall would be supervising the 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. shifts. Along with that comes a lot of other duties the sergeant has to do. He would be in charge of our breathalyzer machine, all the booking, where prisoners are brought to. They're placed in charge of all the officers' training, make sure they keep their certifications up. There's several duties and responsibilities. We have two sergeant's positions. One is, I call it an administrative sergeant, he's like my assistant, and there's a patrol sergeant assistant, or a patrol sergeant, and he takes care of making sure all the officers' certifications are up and they're doing what they're supposed to.
Any further discussion?
You got a second on that?
Yeah, I think John seconded.
John seconded.
If not, Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Thank you, and if you happen to speak with the retaring sergeant, please tell him convey our
We'll try to get
appreciation.
him in here.
Or if not, yeah, if you just happen to speak to him, convey our congratulations on his retirement. So,
Any other questions from the board?
okay, thank you very much. And we can probably also handle as well, and the next item after Chief Whitaker, which was the action on the one-day licenses. These are one-day licenses for the Otter River Sportsman Club. Some are liquor licenses, some are liquor and entertainment licenses. Some, in the email that our office received, are just listed as nonprofit. For instance, we know that some of the nonprofits are not alcohol, the Narragansett ones are, there's no license or approval needed from us because they're not actually liquor events. Some of the other nonprofits that are listed as nonprofit, because they don't pay the fee, we did not receive the information as to whether or not they are requesting the one-day liquor license. So what we could do is go ahead and vote those to approve those, and then obviously better to approve them and then them tell us, oh no, we don't need them, than the other way around. So if I can go through quickly, these are the liquor licenses, and then I'll go and do the ones that have entertainment as well. So June 14th, there's a wedding, liquor license until midnight. June 28th, class reunion, liquor license until midnight. July 12th, St. Martin's Festival, nonprofit, which would assume would be a liquor license until midnight unless they tell us otherwise. July 13th is a Jack and Jill liquor license until midnight. July 19th is a liquor license until 6 p.m. July 20th is a family reunion, liquor license until 6 p.m. July 25th is a class reunion, liquor license until midnight. July 26th, the 25th anniversary party, liquor license until midnight. August 3rd, Polish picnic, liquor license until 6 p.m. August 9th, club party, liquor license until midnight. August 11th, the Golden Ages, which is a nonprofit, and we will assume is liquor license until midnight. August 16th, Brewfest, class reunion, liquor license until midnight. August 23rd, Jack and Jill, liquor license until midnight. August 24th, company outing, liquor license until 6 p.m. August 31st, annual club bake, liquor license until 6 p.m. September 6th, family reunion, liquor license until midnight. September 7th, car show, liquor license until 6 p.m. September 13th, Congo Church, which is listed as a nonprofit, and and I'm assuming liquor license until midnight. September 14th, Holy Cross, which is a nonprofit, liquor license until midnight. September 20th, wedding, liquor license until 10 p.m. October 4th, company outing, liquor license until 8 p.m. And then the two Narragansett ones we know are non-liquor licenses. Going back now for the entertainment licenses, June 14th, there's a wedding, entertainment until midnight. June 28th, class reunion, entertainment until midnight. July 13th, Jack and Jill, entertainment until midnight. July 17th, entertainment until 6 p.m. July 20th, just liquor. July 25th, class reunion, entertainment until midnight. July 26th, 25th anniversary party, entertainment until midnight. August 3rd, Polish picnic, entertainment until 6 p.m. August 9th, club party, entertainment until midnight. August 16th, Brewfest, class reunion, entertainment until midnight. August 23rd, Jack and Jill, entertainment until midnight. September 20th, wedding, entertainment until 10 p.m. And I believe those are the only entertainment licenses.
So moved.
So moved, okay. Do I have a second? Second. Is there any discussion on the licenses? If not, Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. Okay. About 5 minutes.
Did Mr. Hubbard come?
He is not here as of yet. He may have been expecting later. Would we like to discuss surplus property at this time?
Do we have anything?
Yeah, we were talking about we were at the East Templeton School, all the stuff there,
Yeah.
that we should just sell it instead of sticking it in storage. So I just wanted to get an approval from the board that I could go ahead and list it, eBay, Craigslist, whatever. Go ahead and sell it.
Yeah, I got a list here.
Oh,
It was on the back of
oh.
But some of that stuff we decided not to sell.
Yeah, just whatever we're gonna,
Yeah, right.
whatever we can use.
I had
no real rush.
Okay.
I can't remember everything that was on it, but.
this thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So do we need a vote to declare those items surplus, or because they're mostly small items, do we not need to? Or should we just declare
I think we should declare them surplus at the discretion of
town administrator?
town
Yeah.
administrator. How's that? You want the job? Okay. All right.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the list of items that we received that have come out of East Templeton, but being both personal property and some fixtures that it has been determined are not necessary for the town to continue ownership of them for purposes of the building being used as a town hall or other town purposes for which we foresee them being used. Do I have a motion along those lines to declare those items surplus?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second, okay. Is there any discussion? Okay, if not, Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I will vote yes. And I think that that clock is a little slow, and we are right at 7. So, here we have the bids.
6:57.
Is it 6:57?
Yeah, 6:57.
Oh. So just to kill 2 minutes here while we, so this is the opening of the bids for the sale of 252 Baldwinville Road. The property was previously listed and put out for bid, and we received no bids, correct? When it was previously. So this time we've gotten 2. So if you're wondering why we haven't done this before, it's because we haven't had any bids before. At this time, if the town administrator.
Okay, I will open them and pass them down.
Okay. To me? Bless you. So the first that we have received, that I've just opened, is from M&L Corp., P.O. Box 169, Baldwinville, an offer in the amount of $35,000 for the property and building located at 252 Baldwinville Road. And it does meet the requirement and come with the requisite check for $10,000. This is, oh, this is what they sent out. Okay. This is from Amy Abrams, trustee of the 252 Baldwinville Road Realty Trust of 3 Park Street in Leominster, Mass 01453, in the amount of $175,000. For the purchase of the property and building. Which is also here with the requisite check for $10,000 as well. So those are the 2 bids that we have received. Because of the nature of this bidding process, we have the ability to, we don't have to necessarily take the highest bid. We have the ability to reject all bids if we so choose. Is there anyone from the board have any? Yes, Mr.
If the
Markle.
board decides to go forward, I'll check and make sure that they are so-called qualified bidders.
Oh, right. Okay.
What do we owe again?
Oh, that's a good question. What we actually owe, part of the debt that we owe on the bill is for the property itself, and then part of it is for the design work that was done as well. So it's, do we know how much we actually owe for that portion that is the property?
It's roughly about $550. It was 4 for the building, it was like $150 and OPM and design. I was on that committee, that's
Okay.
why I know. And I know there was talk, it was $700, but when Tammy Collier was treasurer, she had rolled some other stuff together on the one note, and that's what kind of inflated that number, saying it was $700,000, $800,000 owed on that building. It was the note that it was tied to, but actual hard dollars was like roughly $550 of that, on that building. And I'm not, that's not an exact number,
Right.
but somewhere in that.
So the real estate was about 400, and that was at the time we purchased it, correct?
It was
Correct.
400, right?
Yeah, so, but is there a way for us, since other things have been kind of lumped together, or is there a way to know how much,
It's still valued at about that.
at about?
That's what Luann had said when I first put it on.
Is there a way to know how much we still owe on the real estate portion of that amount, or on the?
Well, I think we've made 2 payments for the, for the short-term bond.
Okay,
I think it was 157.
Just one payment.
Oh, we just made one
Right.
payment.
There was a small payment and the
Oh,
one
the
57.
14,000, yeah.
Was it a 3 or 5 year payment? I don't remember. That's
7 years.
How many years?
So,
We've paid.
it's either 5 or 7.
we made a 14, I'm sorry, what were those numbers that you had said? We made a small $14,000.
There was a small amount paid the first year, like under 20,000, and the next year's was 157.
So we've paid about,
And we owe 157 for how many years?
The whole note was for 700,000.
right, and it's for 7 years, or
I think
5.
it's either 5 or 7, I can't.
And is that, what is that building costing us every
But
month?
the 700 wasn't for entirely for 252, there was some other note tied to it.
Tied to it, so it's
Yeah.
hard to know exactly what. That building is, I mean, we
How
don't do.
much are we paying on that building every month? What, do we owe expenses on that
it's in there
building every
already.
month?
Yeah.
So once a year we pay?
Right, right, I mean, it doesn't,
7,000.
right, yeah, it's dead, it doesn't have utilities or heat or anything.
But it's the 157, plus I'm sure we're insuring it, hopefully.
Oh, right,
So there's
right.
a cost of
Right,
insuring it.
right.
And not collecting taxes.
157.
And not
Even
like,
if the 157 is for a 700, if this is 550, that's, 3/4 of the value of the note is this property. So, at least,
175.
How many times have we put it out to bid?
This is the second.
This is the second time we put it out for
Yeah.
bid.
We got nothing.
Last time we did this.
First time it's nothing.
Yeah.
And it costs us money to put it on the central register and
And every time, right,
process every time we do this.
right.
Well, in real estate, your first offer is always your best offer. Not the 35,000, thank you very much, but.
But the higher.
And what, if we accept any bid, that money goes toward the note? Or, I mean, we're
It's
still
just
gonna.
free, it would be free cash for next year.
But we would still have to be paying on a note anyway, because
Right.
we lumped in some,
We lumped
I'm just trying to get
everything.
my head around this in
Yeah.
order to make,
Right. We're gonna be paying for something that we, yeah.
but then it would go back on the rent roll, I mean,
At
on
least
the
on
tax,
taxes.
tax base,
Right.
because we don't wanna do rent rolls, so.
You can sell it before it deteriorates more.
Oh, that's right, because the building is
That's
It's
fine.
not being
obviously
heated.
getting worse every year that it's sitting there in the
Yeah.
elements without.
And every day that goes by, value goes down, so.
the likelihood of us using it for anything is pretty slim.
Right, because it would have to be obviously completely,
Right.
Refurbished.
right, yeah.
Brought up to code. We
Yeah.
don't have that money.
And at a value of, assessed value, 400,000, looking at $64,000, or, yeah. I'll do that again. That seems like a lot. It's not. It would be, if the assessed value is 400, times, tax rate is 16, 24, it's $100, 100 per thousand, so it would be, well, they're gonna pay about $6,500 in taxes.
Every year, right.
Maybe they'll employ people. That's always a possibility, so.
Wouldn't it be better if somebody fixed it up and actually used the building and maybe, depending on what they're gonna use it for, maybe could create some jobs or they would, I mean, I'm just saying, it's not just about, a tax base, it's about, it's an eyesore right now. It's just an eyesore, so.
And
What is that?
yes, sir.
What is that company Lemonster you said bid on it?
It is, well, it's a realty trust, it's
It's a person.
Amy
I'm
Abrams,
sure they ain't gonna just throw their money away, they're gonna,
Well, right.
should invest in something in it.
right.
The only thing it's good for now is a skating rink, if you went in this winter and see all the water was in it. You could put a skating rink in there, ice skating rink.
And I know that people will obviously probably not be thrilled that the town is accepting so much less than what we paid for, or even what it's assessed at. But given the circumstances of the property, the fact that anytime you have a municipality selling property, I mean, it's not the same as you selling your home. And the fact that we are losing, what, $6,500 every year that it does not, that it sits there without an owner, even if the individuals who purchase it don't do anything with it, they still will be at least paying $6,500 a year in taxes, which is $6,500 a year that we're not getting now. Personally, I would be in favor of accepting the $175,000 bid. And again, just if we accept the bids and if that's what the board decides to do to purchase it, it's not a done deal yet, obviously, because in real estate, it's never done, as you know, until you have a closing. So Bob will still have to go through, make sure that they actually are qualified to purchase the property. And we'll have to go through the standard process when acquiring real estate regarding any liens or anything, which hopefully there aren't any on the property. Yes, sir.
Do we need town meeting approval for this property?
No.
No. Bob says no. Yes, sir.
Going by willing buyer, willing seller, the first thing that the buyer's gonna do is ask for an abatement. If you agree to sell it to $175,000, and that's what he agrees to pay for it, that's about what the new assessed value is. So now you can take that $6,500 and divide by 2 at least,
Right.
and you're down somewhere in the $3,000 range, which is still a lot better than, but it's certainly not gonna be $6,500.
Is there are there any more, well, I'll take a motion if there is one before we
Can
discuss
I just
further.
make
Yes.
a comment to that about, asking for an abatement? I would hope that any person who purchases it won't leave it in that condition, so therefore, I mean, if it's right now assessed at, $400,000 in its current state and they're gonna fix it up, asking for an abatement, it would be reassessed, so in nicer state. So hopefully, I
Right.
mean, so I'm just saying it might not stay at that, divided by 2, I agree with you though, it is definitely something to think
It may come
about.
up some,
Yeah.
Right.
but it's
Yeah.
certainly not gonna be the 65, I don't think, yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Question I have is, I know in real estate, somebody comes in with bid basically for regular real estate, and it's usually negotiated after that. During this particular process, is there any way to negotiate with them? Maybe they're willing to pay 200, but they put a bid in for 175.
I don't
I'm just asking, I don't understand the process of,
how it works for town. I don't know if Bob wants to.
It's non-negotiable.
But-
Bid is a bid.
Do you want to, when
No.
there was no other bids?
You don't wanna lose
I
that.
think, if you got people close together, it makes sense. I'm not sure
Right, in
that
this
the
case.
spread here is such that we could get a negotiation that would bring the price up.
Might bring it down.
It might bring it down, right?
Yeah, it might bring it down. Having toured the building, anyone who wants to use that building is going to have to invest in it.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
If you look at the space between the roof and the walls, it's open air. Someone's going to have to close that up. The heating system, no doubt, will not suffice. So there's a substantial amount of investment and improvement that's going to be required for anyone to have a usable facility. One of the bidders wanted to put trucks in there, diesel trucks, one of the potential bidders. And the first thing you notice is, they're worried that being open in the wintertime would mean that they would have to do something because the diesels won't start up in the cold weather.
I make a motion to accept the bid from Amy Abrams, trustee of 252 Baldwinville Road for $175,000.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a first and a second to accept the bid, $175,000 bid. Any further discussion?
just for reference, it's a $375,000 loss.
Well, you want to get rid of it.
Just,
Oh,
so
right,
people-
just, yep.
So people understand that it's.
Right. And I'm sure that next time we acquire real estate, we'll be Right. Much more careful. I hope. Yeah. Well, our most recent acquisition will be free. Well, I mean, a land swap, but. So I have a first and a second. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
John? Diane?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So there you go. So, Mr. Markle, if you could work your magic with that, please. And I am returning both checks. Oh, wait. I just want to make sure that the names of the parties were on the chat. I'll agree. Okay, the next item that we have on our agenda is for the town administrator position, our second round of interviews. I know that Mr. Ventresco is here. If he would like to go first. Thank you. For those of you that may not know, so we have a set, which everyone has, I believe, in their packets, a round of second round interview questions that we will be reading kind of as we went the first time. So we will be asking those, and I'll leave it up to the board. Would you prefer to see the presentation first and then ask questions based perhaps to have that information, or would you rather ask the questions and then
I'd like to see the presentation.
see the candidates? Is that we? For those of you that may not be aware, we asked both of the candidates to prepare a 3 to 5 minute presentation. Mr. Markle has done that this year, and it has at town meeting, and that has proven kind of as a helpful tool, I feel, and being able to explain things to the public, and that, as we know moving forward, will definitely be an important part of this position. So we wanted to ask both candidates to do a small kind of reenactment of that, or for just the board, when you sitting there as well, so that we can get an idea of how comfortable they are giving those kind of presentations. So, the floor is yours.
All right. Where do you usually stand? Right in front or set?
Yep,
or
sure. Yep, right here in the
stand
middle's
in there?
fine, sure.
All right. I do have a small handout for you. I may want to talk, I'm not going to follow this too much.
Okay.
I just expanded on the budget that you sent for us to look at. Just, it helped me to get my head around some of the different numbers and figures. Just expand on a little name. I only had black and white there, but you will see that the shade of yellow and red kind of blends together. But some of the things I highlighted are major items I think we're going to have to look at.
Okay, great.
Which I'm going to talk about
Okay,
as
great.
well. Now, you want me to face you? That obviously.
Yeah,
this is
if
for
we could
you.
just, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, the question, if I remember correctly, and I'm looking here, and I don't have it exactly worded here, but I believe it was to just, for me to explain my approach to how we're going to get through this very difficult year, which we're going to be, well, we're already in a very difficult period, I know, but beginning the new fiscal year, we're still going to be, we're actually going to be starting anew. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about right now, just how I would approach that. And some, I guess more or less you want a suggestion rather than, because I'm open, but these are ideas I have, I think we should handle. First of all, I wanted to talk a little bit about the expectations, because I think it's important to set that up. And I know you've all done it, but I've listened to your meeting minutes for the last, great videos by the way, for the last 2 months. So I'm pretty familiar, very familiar with what's going on. I know you're in the middle of this 2-month draconian, which is no better wording for it, budget cuts as well. But that's until this fiscal year ends, of course. However, and I mention expectations because I think it's important to make clear that while these 2 months are extreme, we're really in a fundamental shift here. Things are, unfortunately, I think everyone knows it, and I know you do as the board, that things aren't going to go back to the way they were, at least not right away, meaning we're not just going to, July 1st is going to turn over and we're going to have all our staff back and everything. So I think number one is just setting the expectations of that and everyone realizing it. And my approach would be, this is just a general approach here, is that we look at it that way. We look at it as starting anew. meaning we've got these cuts in place that, yes, we're gonna be able to build back up from. But we gotta keep, and that's why I really detailed the budget more, keep in mind, we're starting from this new base. And my approach would be to build back, obviously, it seems obvious, but I think it's the way we should visualize it. Build back to our current budget. So, and that, building back to that current budget, the FY15, is not gonna be building back to the FY14 budget. That's why I made another breakdown here. Instead of the 7,000, it's about 550,000 difference. The 700,000 difference, of course, was what the department heads have said they need for the departments. But anyway, so that's number one there, just the approach, that's kind of the approach I would take. Some of the first things I would do, because obviously you're gonna have to hit the ground running when that new budget takes over. Number one, obvious, is probably obvious, but just to let you know, would be setting down the department heads. I think that number one thing is gonna be rebuilding the staff. How do we do it? And then how far can we go? I know there's been talk here of 32 hours, going down to 32 hours versus 40, and, or something that hasn't been mentioned, but I think it's something that we have to think about. There's another structural shift that's taken place since our Great Recession, or our recession, so to speak, where a lot of people are going part-time. Maybe that's going to have to be an option we'll have to think about in contracted employees. But number one, though, I don't want to prejudge that. I think rebuilding the staffing level is going to be the most important thing, and it's going to involve working and setting down the department heads. It's going to be obviously number one thing we have to do. And again, these are not in any order. I got 4 things here. We're going to approach them simultaneously because they're all going to have to be done at one time. The other is work with the department heads for rebuilding the other areas that were cut. There's lots of big expense lines have been cut there, and everything else. Again, these are things I want to work with the department heads very closely with. Another very important thing is the new position of treasurer and tax collector, which have been merged. It's going to be real important to hire that. I presume, I don't know if someone is going to be moved up or we're going to be hiring for that position or how that's going to work. But whoever gets picked for it, in the appropriate manner, of course, we've got to get them in place. And obviously the whole financial function is going to be a major focus. One of the major focuses, because there's so many, but that is a major one. So I definitely want to, that would be another major area we have to look at and make sure we perform. Another thing I noticed, and at least I believe, is our police chief is retiring at the beginning of the year. That's a tough time because he gets some cuts in his department too, and we needed someone new is going to have to come in there, and looking at those cuts, it looks like they're going to have staffing issues as well. So that's another thing that concerns me, that we've got to get someone in there really quickly who can hit the ground running also. Those are some of the things. Now, in the spreadsheet topics, I just, if you can see my shades of yellow, some of the things I highlighted are pretty similar to some that I mentioned. You'll notice I highlighted the treasurer tax collector. That was a big thing. Insurance on the next page. I don't know what the idea was here, but it looks like, I don't know, group insurance has been cut, and unless it was something from the Affordable Care Act that made that happen. It looks like the employees may be asked to contribute more, unfortunately. And also I just heard, I believe Bob was talking about, was it our mod had gone up? Was it the
Loss ratio.
Yeah, loss ratio. Those are unexpected things. That's probably going to make insurance go up. I've been in that situation. I know what that's like. That's one area. Let's see, the building inspector too concerned me here a bit because we're taking some pretty big cuts there. I don't know, it looks like the idea is to go part-time in that department. And I didn't hear that, but I'm guessing that. And also the assistant has been cut tremendously. And obviously that's a concern as well, especially for building inspections have to keep going on, especially if we're going to ask for development and those things, so that concerns me. Obviously Public Works took a hit as well, and police. I think the big thing there is gonna be staffing we're gonna have to work on, although there are some big expense cuts as well. I was a little confused here on that when we'll get into it, I just had to mention already the council of aging, we had a big increase there. I think there may have been some contractual obligation or something. And also was another big one in fire. And obviously it looks like our recreation program's gone as well, and the short-term debt. But those are some of the things for the spreadsheet there, and I hope it may be a little lighting. I tried to get expanded a bit. But planning ahead, we'll talk about this because as I just mentioned, and I heard some of you say as well, this is a systemic change, I guess is the best way to use it, if you know, use the economist's terms. In that we're going to have to, as I already mentioned, start building again and starting new. And some of the things I've put in place to try and, number one of the main things, of course, is going to be to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again. And these are things that I would, some ideas I had. Again, there are many, many more, just like in other topics. But one was putting a financial team in place. I was looking through some things, and I noticed DOR recommends this. You have people on there, for example, like the chair of the Board of Selectmen, the Finance Advisory Committee chair, the treasurer, tax collector, of course myself, or whoever gets the town administrator position, and key department heads. I think that would be a good way to keep us all on board. Also, I've noticed that I think we really need to get a debt schedule in place. That's a real big one. You get surprises. I'm very close to that. I've done things in the past like a cash flow anticipation schedule, because our cash flow is going to be restricted somewhat, obviously, and we're trying to reduce TAN expenses, which I've heard, and that's always a good thing. I usually have to take TANs in a lot of my towns and try to get rid of them as quick as you can, so you don't have to pay more. So that was another thing. I found a schedule that sometimes you can't do anything about it, but sometimes you can. And unless you know when those big expenses are going to come in. Those are some of the things. Another thing was I've had good luck at in procurement. By that I mean looking, got loose in here. By making sure that we're getting the most and the adequate for the dollars we do. So I did want to make sure that. Can we pool purchases? Can we reassess some of our long-term contracts and leases as they come due? Or maybe we're at the point we can do something there. I've had good luck with insurance as well on that. But those are some of the things that, you know, that, again, just some. And I want to leave a little time, I don't think I did. I'm long-winded sometime. But if anyone has any questions, of course, on this, and I'm sure you've got many others, but that's what I had. And I hope I approached the question in some way that gets to maybe the idea you had in mind.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, sure, thank you. And I think what might be best is to go through the questions now, the typed questions, so that we don't kind of double ask any questions that we may have. So our first question is from Selectman Morrison.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me back.
What do you hope to accomplish in the first 2 years on the job if it's offered to you?
First 2 years. That's a good time. I hope that there would be a lot of things that would get accomplished. Obviously, the things I mentioned, some of those long-term plans, they shouldn't take that long to get in place, of course. But obviously, I'd want it, you know, hopefully it'd be done well before 2 years. But I want to see. I want us to be a pinnacle after this for our financial department and the things we've done. I think another important thing as well is to rebuild some of those reserves, free cash. Obviously, that's very important, especially for those unexpected events that come. We've got to have that, so that's another thing I want to work on. I've only looked through the town a little, but I would like to try and get some development going or something. I don't know what we have. I know you just said the let a building go here, and I was listening to that as well. But I would be, definitely, that's one of the other things that I was thinking about is revenue enhancers. Obviously trying to broaden the tax base a little bit. I think a key thing that is going to be important is, as you told, I think you told me and all the other candidates, that this is going to be the first actual town administrator. So a big thing is going to be orienting the staff. And again, I've been through that, very similar case going from a town coordinator, and actually a vacant position for a while to a staff that, just getting used to having someone else there, not necessarily a boss, but someone you've got to work with and recognize more about a structured process. I think that's it.
Did you have any follow-up, Doug? Or?
No.
Okay. Our next question will be from Selectwoman Farrell.
Oh,
You?
well, how are you?
Thank you, I think.
After working on this job for 1 year, what will people living in Templeton say about you, both positively and negatively?
Trick question.
No, I really hope, one of my major things is I hope that the positives will outrank the negatives. And to be honest, that's the people, that's been the way it has been. I hope that they would say, some of the things I hope they would say would that he's very accessible, he's here, and listens to our problems when we come in, truly takes an honest interest and care, not just, someone maybe who invites you in their office and kind of is daydreaming somewhere else. I've seen that happen with a lot of people. Very involved in the community. And I hope all the businesses that we do have and things, they get to know them. But I think really the big thing is definitely